because it's impossible to reproduce it because it's not a sound. It's something in the head. And only I can hear it.
Okay, so thank you for having us today with you here. We have limited time, so I'll dig straight into the question. It's your first film in English and in Spanish, and it's filmed in Colombia. Why the choice of the setting, and how does the setting kind of find its way into your writing and directing, and also as a performer, how does the setting impact you?
Because it's not Thailand. It's a way to, at one point, 2015, I feel like I need to get something new. It's a challenge, So I went to Colombia 2017, and then I discovered the country, the people, the stories, that really resonate with me and my memory of Thailand as well, and also many things new. So I thought, why not? So I contacted because it's been dreams of us to go someplace together that we don't know, so that we can be really like kids, just listening, looking, without concept about this and that, and so it comes Memoria.
I love to be in places that I'm fresh to, that are fresh to me. I've always loved to travel. I traveled as a child. My father traveled a lot, so finding oneself in a new environment, it always sort of relates to a kind of beginner's mind for me. And it was one of the first things that Joe and I talked about when we established that we wanted to work together. The question was where, and quite quickly, because at that point when we started to talk about working together, Joe hadn't made anything outside of Thailand, and I was curious and a little concerned about how to stand in his frame in Thailand, partly because of course there are so many pitfalls and weird ways of feeling like intervening in a space is inappropriate, and so we realized that we both wanted to be strangers. We wanted to choose a place that both of us didn't know, and we didn't know it the same amount, And so Joe went to Colombia first, I went the following year, and we could feel that we were both as engaged with this sense of the place as strangers, or as people with friends, for sure. We made the film with friends, but that we were like children, as he says.
So is that the reason why I'm playing with something that you don't know about? Because I've heard that both of you decided not to discuss about the character background.
Well, there is no. It's not that we didn't discuss about something that's incredibly important. That wasn't. We just weren't discussing. We really are not so interested in that. The idea that we didn't want to mislead the audience into believing that any of that was particularly important, that what you have is a being, a human, more or less, who's responding. And that's what's important. And small details of her biography or where she lives are much less important than encountering her as a responsive person living in the present.
One thing that's very prominent in the film is the sound, and I heard that it's from your condition with exploding head syndrome. How was the process of finding that sound? Because it's the sound in your head. Is the thing we hear in the film exactly what you hear in your head?
It's close, but not the same, because it's impossible to reproduce it, because it's not a sound. It's something in the head. And only I can hear it. So the movie itself is like in that scene where Jessica is trying to get that.
It's like
a rumble from the core of the earth. Bang! And then it shrinks.
But for me, it's close, not right. But that's the whole idea of the film, is trying to translate it to someone else, or even to yourself. Just to keep this, or to hear it again. Yeah.
พี่เจยคะ I visited to your recent exhibition on minor history at the Tunson Foundation, and I noticed that it's also comprised of sounds, but also comprised of the searching for some lost memory, like the theme. And I know that I should interpret the film myself, but from the eyes of character and also the actor. What's the relationship between an individual with some lost history, or what motivates people to searching for it? Please.
It's always personal, so I can only speak for myself that it's about something that I want to keep or to understand, because in the Northeast, where I grew up, there's so many hidden history, political history, that sometimes we don't find it in our textbook. And when you revisit the place, you talk to people, or simply dare to look at the Mekong River, it just you just have some new sense of the story of the place, and then you also have a new sense of identity. Yeah, it's not molded by the school or by the state. And in minor history is that attempt. It's not to teach or to anything, just to keep and to share. There's two parts. Part one is more about political violence and murder. Actually, it's quite heavy. But the recent one is more very personal, about dreams, shadows, and something also beauty. Yeah.
And for you and Jessica, for Tilda and Jessica, why do people like to search for a lost memory, or why the characters? What motivates characters to search for the lost memories?
It's a really interesting question, and I think about it a lot, particularly in the time since the beginning of the pandemic. I think that our relationship to memory is more, not clear, but it has a spotlight on it now, because I don't know about you, but speaking for myself, I search a little harder for the time before 2020. It's like something opened up. It's like a ferry leaving an island. It's like, ooh, 2019, you are much further away than you should be, given that you're only 2 years ago. It feels like something has opened up. And I think we search because we have this constant conversation within ourselves about our identity, and our identity, if it exists at all, which I'm not sure. I'm a big believer in identity, certainly not fixed identity. But if we need to take comfort in a sense of identity, then our own memory, our own sense of our own history, our own development through our lives is important. And to maybe, I don't know, but having been with my elderly parents when they were in the last years of the months of their lives, I know that their memories became much, much more important to them. It's a sort of feeling one's own shape in existence. And we can choose what that relationship is. We can choose to be gentle in ourselves and let those memories go and not fight too hard to try and grasp them. Or we can try and build bridges to the memories. I think there's no wrong answer. It's all fine. But it's a dance we have with our own sense of ourselves, looking back into our memories. And then, of course, what we propose in the film is this beautiful thing of sharing other people's memories and other people sharing our memories, that there's a collective memory. And that's a whole nother level of relaxation. If we can give up our memories for other people to carry, then maybe we can be freer.
I really like the way you say that it's kind of relaxation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, I think, really, for me anyway, is to try and put the burdens down, as many burdens as we can, just get them off our shoulders so that we can just be.
So is there anything you want to tell to the audience, especially audience in Thailand, for your first work in other language and the connections between?
I think this is a time, with the movies in the theater, just to experience. If you're curious about hearing, listening, and just to relax, like Tilda said, and to rest, and to stop thinking, and just to encounter a different kind of cinema that you maybe it's a reflection, of the connection that sometimes we overlook or we don't see in our own body, and also the world, that we constantly running or searching for something to really to fill in our empty heart. But in fact, I think for me the movie is, just suggesting that this is not empty at all, because it's filled by many others also, because we are all so connected, and we are so bound by memories, by whatever, the air, and that could be quite a feeling of like full. That's it.
I would suggest something particularly for a Thai audience that know Joe's work and quite correctly, in my view, take pride in him as a Thai artist. I think that one of the miracles of this film is that his frame in another place is still his frame, and maybe the link between his frame in Colombia, his frame in Thailand, his frame in wherever next, Scotland or Iceland or India or wherever, is an absolutely international, intergalactic thing. And that's a really beautiful thing to suggest about art, that it is not national. It's not boundary-led at all. And many times we looked through the frame of the camera that Joe and Sayambu set up in Colombia, and we said, oh, looks like Thailand. It's possible now to look at his former films and say, oh, looks like Finland, looks like Australia. And I think this is really might be a revelation for a Thai audience that has only known his Thai work or his work generated in Thailand, to go, this is all interchangeable, this is all available, we are all connected, this is all one thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Khop khun ka.